Yeah. Yes, 8th of December here. Morning time. Little cool out there. Let's divide things, separate things. To give it a actually more importance. Let's communication by voice is a language. Communication by voice is a language. Communication by writing, because there's so many ways to write. I'm projecting a certain sound, and that certain sound is depicted the best as possible in so many different types of letters, and sometimes not even that. It's depicted in like pictures, hieroglyphics. The Egyptians, it's pictures. Chinese, it's pictures. Thousands of them. But all it is an exchange, an exchange between people. But it's more detailed. When you write it, it's more detailed. And each person, I learn how to write ABC. Somebody learns how to write Hindi. Here in India, there's at least 16 different written languages. Ancient and to date, 16 different. As soon as you say language, ethnic distinction is there. Yeah. Ethnic distinction is there. There was no necessity for written language at one point in time because the person could hold it in their brain. There was no reason to write so many books and have so much paper and have this, that, and it becomes so much complicated when you can't put everything up here. But there was certainly, the knowledge was around. The knowledge was around. It may have been a vast, detailed knowledge, but it was around because the person could captivate it. That proves that written language only became necessary after the degradation of the mind. Before, no. It could be spoken. So, in in a spoken way, I mean, universal way, without a book, without a mobile to look it up, and everything else, in a spoken way, it could be universal. The different people and the different planets didn't have to have the same books and everything because it was spoken. But how was it expressed, or is there any reference to how it was expressed? Well, there is reference. Of course, mind communication's one thing, can't get into that. I'll say word, but please don't just put it into a little so small ethnic existence of just a small part of the world. Put it into a universal existence. The development, I go quickly through, but the development of what you could classify as really materialistic, starting from false ego, intelligence, mind. Okay, those are pretty subtle. Then you got ether, air, fire, water, and earth. Those are the manifestations. Okay? Now, in that point, let me see where I can. Okay, mind, intelligence, and false ego, I can't really distinguish something because they're in another quantum factor. But I can distinguish starting with ether. The movement of ether, movement means the agitation, means the movement of ether produces air. The movement of air produces fire, especially the the thunderbolts. That's the movement of air. The movement of fire produces water. Water falls because of the movement of fire. And we have water here because of the movement of fire. And that, when dried up, produces earth. The concentration of water is earth. So it's like a nice cycle coming down. So let's at least go back to ether. What could be called like the most subtle I can go back to. The Vedic hymns weren't produced here. How could there be communication of such a important thing and it's not produced here? It's produced here. So this is not understandable, but let's go. Let's go to something that is producing a sound by the movement of ether. The sun emanates sound, and we could call that primeval sound that we can identify because we can capture it here. The mind has sound, the intelligence has sound. They all have sound because sound is also on the other side of the whole false ego. Sound is always there. But coming into this existence, sound has to appear differently. So now, the sound of that, let's just take one because there's thousands of stars, but our star, the sun. The sun, and this is the only, actually if I look upon everything that's important that NASA has ever done that hasn't been a big cheat, is the sound of the sun. I could easily say, oh, that was a good one, you know. The rest I can't believe, and I'm not going to go along with it, but at least the sound of the sun. So what is the sound of the sun? The sound of the sun is as if you were producing the sound of, and I don't want this classified into a small little section, because we're talking about sound, natural sound, sound that's originated in this, even if you just call it this part of the universe, which our major planet we're considering the sun. The sound is Om. And the sound that's coming out is as if it's coming through the nostrils, not through the lips. Brahmari. I'm trying to reproduce, and when your thumbs are in your ear, it just goes in like anything. Natural. But all the hymns emanated from the nostril. All the hymns, the Vedic hymns, have emanated from the nostrils. So one sits back and examines. This isn't a earthly thing. This is if there's anybody from any other planet that is, because there are those that live in the mind and the intelligence sphere, but if they live in that sphere starting from the ethereum, ether, all the way down to earth, then I can communicate. There's communication. And when the communication becomes like very good, there's communication with the element of goodness, element of passion, element of ignorance, and joy, sorrow. All these can be communicated to somebody just by humming. Just by humming, the other person, it takes a little bit of what is he trying to say? What is he trying to transmit to me? And how am I supposed to respond to it? All these, but you have a, like, 99% easier than when somebody is talking a different language. And this was the most important language. All the hymns that are written down have come from here. Whether they've come in their complex mood, because it's pretty hard to hum in a complex way, but still they have emanated from here. A universal language. Not detailed description language, but even someone coming from another planet, and you try to tell them about maybe a sweet, a very nice sweet here called rasgulla. So you're trying to ask him if he wants a rasgulla, but he's not from this planet. How to communicate? love it. And if you're angry at the man, of course you can communicate. So there is a universal communication. Because we have not delved into it, because we haven't tried to understand it, because we have so many different languages, and now I got my mobile and it can translate whatever language, even the voice of somebody. So, there's no reason for it, So we even get lazier mind, not trying to figure out, trying to understand somebody by translating their language, and no feelings. The written language, you don't feel the feelings. Have you heard the same that's written from the voice of the person that first communicated it? It's a total difference. A total difference. So it is an important fact in communication, in real communication, in human communication. It isn't just a childish thing that should be ignored or something like that. And it brings about good health. So many persons are saying that the humming within the nose, especially if you hum in the front part of the nose, that humming produces nitric oxide. And nitric oxide only lasts about 4 seconds, but after producing it, you breathe in and you take it into your lungs, and that nitric oxide is antibacterial, antifungus, antivirus. So much is there. And it's communicative. Your humming is communicative. It can carry a communication, even to yourself. I hum, touch a spot in my body, and try to bring attention to my body that, hey, this is not working right. The body can't understand everything. What is hurting you, what is not hurting you. You have to tell it. This is a communication. A simple fact. And it's also a fact that when I identify myself because I talk English to the English-speaking world. Maybe somebody who speaks one of the Romance languages, like Spanish or French, they identify with that identification, but not able to communicate. Communication is an important factor in human life. Okay, I just thought I'd bring that up this morning. People can use this video and use whatever I say. I'm not copywriting anything. And just do more study and communicate back to me, and tell me what they thought of it, the insights that they're getting from it. But from my investigation, the first language, I would put it on the sun's vibration. It is telling us something. We can't understand it so well. We can't decipher what it is telling us, but it's telling us something. The first communication from the Purusha. Emanating from the Purusha's nose was the humming of hymns. It's always, Michael rowed the boat ashore, hallelujah. All these things are conveying. So those hymns were coming from here, conveying a beautiful thought. Not just something to be written down, but they're conveying a beautiful thought and conveying it so that you know something. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop there.